Welcome to L&B Show and Tell. Today I have another tutorial. Well, it's not a full tutorial like most people do. It's just kind of like a mini tutorial for lazy people like me. And my husband is smiling. He always makes comments. He does have a voice, he just doesn't speak on the video. And now I've lost my train of thought. And it's also a Daiso haul. Daiso, no, it's not a haul, it's a Daiso arts and craft project. And it's right over here. One of the things I absolutely love to do is alter boxes. They're so easy, so much fun, and I think the results are just lovely. This is my latest one that I made, and it is made with Graphic 45 ABC primer paper, and on the top I added an old school picture from the Jenny Bolin line, although I don't know what line it is. I just love this paper. So now I'm going to backtrack and give you a mini tutorial. Okay, let's go. First off, here are 3 different types of boxes. You got that? Go down, go down, go down. Okay, perfect. The one on the top is from the Dollar Tree, cost $1. The one in the middle is from either Joann's or Michael's. I think this one is actually from Joann's, and the bottom one is from Daiso. Let me go through these just real quickly. This little tiny one, which obviously is $1, as you can see inside, it has a magnet, so no latch in the front, although the back definitely has the latches. And it's in pretty good shape, pretty smooth, all things considered. The second one is from, I really think this one is from Joann's. And as you can see, it's rough on the edges. The latches aren't completely straight, and well, those 2 screws are missing because I needed those, and I'll tell you why later. And these are the gold. But I do use these a lot because it's a very good size. I make my Tooth Fairy boxes out of this one. And now to the last box, which is my favorite. And this is the Daiso box. It's got the 2 little birds on it. And one of the reasons I love this is because of the antique brass. And you can see on the back. Another reason I like this so much is how large it is. And the third reason is because if you compare Joann's and Michael's and Daiso, you will see, at least I have found, I'm not slamming either store, but just in my personal experience, the ones that are the most even, I don't know if that's grammatically correct or not, but I have found that Daiso makes the best, attaches them the best way. Okay, so let's start over here with the Dyson, because both of my boxes that I altered, I use this box. Now let's go to the very first step. The very first step is removing all the latches. It's a pain. I hate it. It's the worst. It's like unloading the silverware basket from the dishwasher. I hate it, but you gotta start, you gotta do it. And I have been doing it with this little tiny screwdriver, which I like, have no idea where I got it. I just happened to find it. And these are the tiny screws, and I was constantly losing them, falling all over the beehive, and couldn't find them. And I tried to find a magnetic screwdriver, but unfortunately you have to buy the whole set. So lo and behold, I went to Daiso. Hon, would you get me the thing over there? And I wasn't even looking for it, and look what I found. Magnetization tool for screwdriver. And it works so well. Look, I'm going to show you. Look at that. Isn't that fabulous? So this is my number one tip for using, for altering a box. Okay, so let's say you have finished altering the box and you actually have two different top and bottom. Okay, wait, let's go back to the screws. Do not trust yourself and just put them in a container. Put them somewhere on your scrapbook desk or your paper desk. Put them in a plastic bag and seal it, because they inevitably disappear and you will end up with one or two less screws, as I did on this one. It's kind of like the guy who steals one sock from the dryer. Well, he does the same with the screws. Okay, so now you have the two different parts. The first thing that I do is to do a very light sanding. And my sanding is basically around the front here and over here, because this has to be the smooth part. Everything else will be covered with either paint or paper. Once I've done that, I take out my acrylic paint that I want to use, and I'm going to show you here this with this box over here. And I love this. This is with the Graphic 45, and this is the Latch paper. I love, love, love. I have so little left of this paper. You can see over here, I use that on the bottom, and then inside. So this is an easy one. This is easier to show you than the school paper. As you can see, I painted in the rust color to match it. But as you can see, let me get this, my little book out that I made. There. Everything is covered, but the edges have to be painted. Can you see where the corners meet? And over here has to be painted on the edges. So you don't, if you're going to paper it the way I paper it, there's no need to waste your paint covering the top, the sides. Just paint the edges. Okay? Now, once that is completely dry, you want to cut your paper. Just take a ruler, because each box is just slightly different. Cut all your papers, front, inside, outside. As you can see, the bottom, the top. And you don't have to worry about what you're going to cover it with at this point. You just want to get the entire base done. Okay. Now comes a little bit more tricky part, and that is gluing things down. I use my Mod Podge. I love Mod Podge. It's my favorite adhesive. And the way I do it is I buy the little cupcake holders over at the dollar store or Michael's, wherever I can get them for $1. And I use this for my paint, and I also use it for the Mod Podge. And that way when I'm finished with it, I can just toss it away. I always use the foam brushes, and it's really important when you're, not so much when you're painting the corners like I do, but if you were to paint this entire box or use the Mod Podge to cover it, as you will, and if you're using a brush with the hairs, what'll happen, unless you're using a very expensive, you're going to finish, complete, you think you're totally done, and then you look at it and you'll find one little hair, and then you've got to scrape it out and you've ruined the whole top. So sponge, they're really, I think, fabulous. And the best thing of all is plastic bag. Just throw them in a plastic bag and you can do the entire painting, or you can do the entire Mod Podge with one brush. Okay, so now that everything is, all the paper is on, oh, here's the deal. Once you put the paper on, and let me just show you, I'm going to give you an idea. So you do one whole side, you do the bottom and you do the side. do a light coat of Mod Podge on the box and on the paper. And I really say that again, light coat. And then put it on, and you want to smooth it so you get all the bubbles out. And you really want to hold it for a couple of seconds to make sure that it's sticking. Now it's easy to do the sides. As you can see, it's easy to do the bottom. It's easy to do the front. It's easy to do the inside. But what is difficult is the front and the back, because you're going to need to make holes. Now I end up doing a template, so for me it's easy, but it takes a little time to explain it, and I'm not really doing a tutorial. So if anybody wants to know, let me know, and I could do a tutorial if you don't find my ums too boring, too monotonous, too horrible. Okay, so now let's go back. Another important thing that you want to make sure you do is you do not want to get any Mod Podge on the edges here or here. And the reason is that the box will stick, because inherently Mod Podge sticks even when it's completely dry. So what I tend to do is if I get any Mod Podge on here, I just kind of sand it down, and then I'll just rub on a little bit of the paint afterwards, and I've never had any problem with that. The other thing that I want to give you advice on is that once it's completely dry, it will, if you keep it closed like that, it will develop an odor. So what I do is, once it's completely dry, is to just leave it open for about a week or so. And then I've never had any problem with an odor. And let's see, one last thing, okay? Because I think I'm over 10 minutes, and that's, yeah, okay. I like to keep these short and sweet. And that is, once all the paper is on, and that's before you put back the latches, you want to start with your Mod Podge. Now, 2 coats is what I use and recommend. This way, it's not, you're never going to be able to clean this with, heavy duty, put it under the sink with the water, but you can just kind of wipe it off and it should be fine. And you want to use light coats of Mod Podge, very light coats. And you also want to make sure it dries completely before you put the second coat on. I always do it, I'll go straight down, or so horizontally. Why can't I say that? Horizontally. Horizontal. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. So that there's a certain continuity with the box. And then I also always add little feet, and I put these on with my glue gun. I just paint them because I just think it looks a little nicer. And last but not least, what I did for both was to make a little tiny book inside. So you can see, real easy. There's more of the paper, and I just added, I think there are 50 sheets of white paper, and it fits in really nice, just like that. And I have the same thing for the school book, the school box. As you can see, there's my little tiny book, and as you can see, here's my school box inside, on the bottom. And I think that is it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this little mini Daiso Arts and Crafts mini tutorial. And one last thing, since I've got you here, I have your full attention, hopefully you haven't fallen asleep. I found out today that I am one of the 95% of people who start a blog and desert it. I feel awful. I haven't looked at my blog in probably 8 or 9 months. And I was thinking of starting Instagram, but I really think that I should finish what I started. So I want to know if anyone has ever read my blog. If you have, do you think would you like me to continue it instead of Instagram? And if you could just leave a comment, I'd appreciate it. No need to follow me. I'll be back with another little mini tutorial if you guys like this. And I hope everyone's having a nice weekend. And that's it. Bye-bye from the Beehive.